Let's move on to main topic number 2, shall we? And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by Rodney Benoit, who writes, "Hey, John, I wanted to chime in on the discussion you were having on the WandaVision videos about what happened to people who were victims of the blip while on a plane or a boat." This has been a topic of discussion ever since Endgame, or on a boat. "I think those people die because in episode 4 of WandaVision, we see in the beginning when people in the hospital came back from the blip, it was disorganized chaos. It was havoc. Life is messy, and being in the wrong place at the wrong time is real in life. What are your thoughts?" Okay, thanks a lot for saying that in, Rodney. And yes, like I said, this has been a big issue that has been around since Endgame, Rob. Ever since Endgame and Hulk snaps his fingers and brings everybody back from the blip, there has been this ongoing discussion and debate about, well, what happens if somebody was on a transatlantic flight 20,000 feet above sea level and they were in a plane when they blipped? When Hulk brings them back, they're going to appear 20,000 feet above the water and they're going to fall to their death. What happens if they were in an elevator, Rob? What happens if some poor soul was in an elevator and when they got blipped and they come back now and the elevator's not in the right spot? And now they appear on the 30th floor of a building in a long empty elevator shaft and they fall to their death. Now, this has come up again, obviously, since WandaVision episode 4. And there's been some good back and forth debate going on. And my position on this, Rob, has always been this. I believe that you came back in the context that you were snapped away. So my thought on this has always been, if you were on a flight in seat 3A when the blip happened, you got taken away, then when Hulk unblipped you, I don't think you came back at that same point in the sky. I think you came back in seat 3A. To which some people say, "But John, what happens if somebody else is sitting in seat 3A? Well, yeah, but that would be the same thing the other way around. Like if you just came back in the exact spot you're at, if somebody was blipped standing on the corner of King and Main getting ready to cross the street, what happens if somebody else is standing there when the unblipping happens, right? So it's the same problem, right? So I believe you come back in the context. So there's been this big debate going on, but Rob, I can tell you definitively, my theory is right. And WandaVision episode 4 proved it. Because if you go back into WandaVision episode 4 and you watch the unsnapping happening in the hospital with all the chaos, one of the people who comes back is an older guy. There's a gurney being pushed down the hallway that's empty and all the chaos. And some guy just reappears back in the gurney that's being pushed along and pushed away. Are you telling me that guy just happened to be in that exact spot hovering above the ground when he was blipped? No, he was probably in that gurney and that gurney was probably on another floor, but now he reappears back in the gurney. Rob, I am 100% convinced that that one moment in WandaVision episode 4 proved my theory that you didn't come back in the exact spot, you came back in the right context. Now, I talked about that on my WandaVision spoiler review, and it sparked a lot of debate. But then what happened is a bunch of people emailed me this article that further enforced my theory, which was Kevin Feige himself. I didn't realize this before. Kevin Feige himself has verified my theory that you come back safely in the context you were in. This comes to us, this is from Den of Geek, but Avengers Endgame, Kevin Feige, now this was after Endgame, so this was ages ago.
Right.
Kevin Feige confirms mid-air snap victims are okay. They're okay, Rob. This is what Kevin Feige said. He said, speaking during an exclusive post-screening Empire Q&A last week, Kevin Feige reassured everyone that the aerial survivors of the blip, which I call the snap, were indeed safe and sound. If people were in an airplane when they were dusted, they didn't return at 35,000 feet, Kevin Feige said. They didn't fall to their deaths because Smart Hulk is smart. And when he snapped, you can wish for whatever you want. You can wish for everybody to come back safely. Done, says Kevin Feige. Because this Hulk was smart Hulk, Kevin Feige says, and he was smart enough. And by the way, Sean's World sends in a super chat badge in the live chat. Thank you, Sean's World. Smart Hulk was smart enough to snap them all back into safe contexts wherever they were. So Rob, to me, that puts this whole discussion and this whole thing to bed, even though I thought the guy in the hospital in episode 4 proved it already, but this puts this whole to bed. But honestly, Rob, I can't remember, what has your position been in all this about where do, like, the safety and the circumstances of people coming back from the blip? What's your thoughts been?
Well, I remember when I first saw Endgame and afterwards having conversations with people, and I was having conversations with a friend of mine about what would be some of the most awkward, like, what if you're a woman who's delivering, you're having a baby, and like the baby's halfway out and you disappear, but your baby stays or sticks around. And can you imagine if, you come back in that same context and you're in the middle of giving birth, you come back, you think you're giving birth, and it's 5 years later and your kid's 5 years old, stuff like that. But I think that I agree with you, and I agree with Kevin Feige. I mean, it's the spirit of when, contextually, everybody would be safe. Like maybe you would wind up at the airport terminal that you got on the plane at, or something like that. I mean, I do love the fact, though, there's nothing better about being a fan than being able to have long, ongoing debates about the logistics of people coming back from Thanos' snap. Because it's not just that Thanos can do this and take away half the beings in the universe, but when they come back, we can come up with 100,000 different scenarios about what people were doing when they disappeared and when they came back. And I think that it shows how powerful these stories, even though, they're comic book adaptations, the reason we keep coming back to them is they remain compelling. After all this time. That's why I know you don't like time travel stories that much, but the ramifications of time travel and the grandfather paradox, we're still talking about that. We've been talking about it for 100 years, and we'll probably talk about it for 100 more. But I think that the Thanos snap, the returning back from the snapping, is one of those great ongoing fan debates that will never end.
You know what's great about it, too? This is a great example of how we should never take life too seriously. No. Because here we are, grown-ass men and women, not just us two on camera, but all you, the rest of you guys watching, grown-ass who, we own cars. Some of you and some of us have children. We have real responsibilities. And here we are talking about when the magical space stones brought back by the green-skinned man, where did people appear? And here we are making serious discussions about what happened to these people who came back. And I kind of love it. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Where are you on this whole issue of where did people come back? I think this issue is now put to bed. Kevin Feige himself has confirmed it. I thought episode 4 of WandaVision confirmed it. Anyway, the question is, guys, what do you think about that? Jump on down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts on this very important, serious issue of the day. What happened to the people who were on an airplane when they got snapped away by the purple-skinned man and brought back by the green-skinned man? That's the important issue today. Jump on down there and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys.